This deadly cycle of tit-for-tat violence must stop. It's high time to stop the sickening cycle of escalation after escalation that is leading the people of the Middle East straight over the cliff. We cannot look away from systematic violations of international humanitarian law.
US President Joe Biden has ruled out supporting an Israeli strike on Iran's nuclear sites, while Iran warned of a stronger response amid increasing tensions in the Middle East.
Would you support an attack on Iran's nuclear sites by Israel?
The answer is no. We'll be discussing with the Israelis what they're going to do, but all 7 of us agree that they have a right to respond, but they should respond in proportion.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, however, stressed the country was not looking for war.
The security of the region is the security of all Muslims, and we do not want any war or bloodshed. Since I assumed the presidency, every speech I've made has emphasized our quest for peace and security. We were left with no choice but to respond. If Israel decides to retaliate, then it will face harsher reactions.
After Iran launched nearly 200 missiles at Israel on Wednesday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Tehran would pay for its big mistake. Iran, which backs Hezbollah, said it would step up its response if Israel retaliates, defying calls for de-escalation in a war that has cost more than 1,000 lives in Lebanon. Anthony Albanese is urging Israel to protect itself by prioritising diplomacy over military action against Iran and its terrorist proxies, as Labour comes under pressure to offer more explicit support for the Jewish state, with the Middle East on the verge of a broadening conflict. While the Prime Minister condemned Iran for unleashing nearly 200 ballistic missiles on Israel, he called on both nations to de-escalate tensions and refused to back Israel's push to dismantle Hezbollah's terror infrastructure on its border.
We of course condemn Iran's actions. We once again reiterate the call that we've made along with the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, Italy, Germany, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, other nations as well, calling for a de-escalation. Israel, of course, has a right to defend itself. What we have called for consistently is for a de-escalation in the region, along with our friends in the United States and others. We issued a joint statement with 13 nations just a week ago.
Iran's attack forced nearly 10 million Israelis into shelters, but the only known causality was a Palestinian man in the West Bank. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps vowed further action if Israel responded, arguing the strikes were an act of self-defense for the Jewish state's incursion into Lebanon and the assassination of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles says Israel has a right to defend itself, but has reissued a call for a ceasefire and declared this is the moment for diplomacy.
What we don't want to see is actions which give rise to an escalatory cycle, and that's really important here. Clearly, the world does not want to see an escalation to what has happened here. That is exactly why we condemn Iran's missile attack in the strongest possible terms. We don't deny countries' rights to defend themselves, but this is the moment for diplomacy, and we need to see every effort being made to try and bring about an end to the hostilities in the Middle East, because of the extraordinary loss of civilian life that we've seen as a result of this.
His comments come as Labour faces pressure to provide more explicit support for the Jewish state as the region appears to be teetering on the brink of broader conflict.
This is a moment for this council to speak out with one voice and condemn Iran for its unprovoked attack against another member state. Let me be clear, the Iranian regime will be held responsible for its actions, and we strongly warn against Iran or its proxies taking actions against the United States or for their actions against Israel.